With Washington continuing to put off dealing with our problems, what is the risk to the economy with Washington postponing these decisions?
You know, one of the problems when you compare and contrast Europe and the U.S., and you think about it, the U.S. has the absolute mechanism and the way forward. They just don't have the will to come together, to compromise, and to figure out how to make it all happen. The reverse is true in Europe. In Europe, they absolutely have the will to come together. They all want to make it happen. They want to figure out a way to solve these problems together. But they don't necessarily have the way.
Right.
And the U.S. has to realize it's got so much going for it. Let's just get ourselves to come together as a team, one team running the country, helping that country to get itself back on stable footing, which then cascades to the rest of the world. Confidence in the U.S., GDP growth in the U.S., it spills over everywhere. And there are investors who see that. Some of the earliest investments we've seen made this year are in global emerging markets equities. Why? Because they believe that the U.S. is going to get over some of these issues quickly, and therefore you'll get much more upside in some of these other countries that will benefit from that.
How much does it hurt us? How much does it hurt the economy if we don't confront this?
It hurts us tremendously. It hurts the confidence in the U.S. It hurts the confidence of the CEOs to know, how do I invest? What are the rules going to be? You know, how do I think about what the country is going to look like going forward in the next 1, 2, 3 years? And that, you know, that's something that we've just got to go back to. We've got to be proud of American companies, and we got to get back to believing that business is good. American business is good. It's good for the economy. It's good for the global economy.
Right. Is in terms of this debate, the irony is, I mean, we talk about this. The market had this weighing on it for months.
Yes.
But it doesn't seem to have sapped confidence in stocks, even though people were worried about the fiscal cliff and everything. We've gotten past a lot of worries in the last year, which suggests maybe the economy was a lot stronger than people thought.
That's right. And as we all know, the markets move far in advance of a GDP print or a newspaper report that says that all the statistics have come in stronger than expected. The markets have a way of realizing or expecting those things in advance. I think the markets are also saying, I'm now expecting the drama the night before on the vote so that everyone can have their 2 cents in the public eye. But I have confidence that they will eventually come together and make a decision that's rational for the country.
Right. It's even though they keep postponing that decision,
Yes.
which is a little scary.
Yes. And it has a lot of technical issues in how we finance the debt of the countries and the companies that have to rely on the way that the mechanisms work. And so it's very disruptive if it doesn't work smoothly.
But what it seems to me you're saying is, I mean, underneath all of this, you think the economy is actually getting stronger.
Absolutely. Housing is much better. Foreclosure rates are a fraction of what they were and where they were headed. They're certainly all in the right direction. Lending continues to be strong. JPMorgan itself has lent $7 trillion since the crisis in 2008 to countries, to companies. So people are taking that money and they're investing it back into the growth of where they need it to go.
Do you think, in terms of the strength of the economy here, I mean, your boss said this morning he felt that if we could just come up with a reasonably sound policy, the U.S. economy could take off.
And it will. It will. If we do that, it will.
If we do what?
If we have a path forward, if we stop saying that every constituency has to have its say, that everyone has a right to have each of their investments be made, and no one wants to make any cuts or compromises. We have to come together. There's a happy medium. There's a middle ground that everyone can agree on, and we say that's the way to get a step forward. Once we take 1 step forward, we can take 2 steps forward. We can take 3 steps forward, but we've got to get on with life.
And if we do that, what happens to the economy?
You'll see a lot more confidence in the CEOs of the American companies be investing in their companies, and therefore unemployment rates should begin to decrease significantly.
Mm-hmm. So you think, how strong do you think the U.S. economy actually is right now?
I think the U.S. economy wants to be strong. It wants to be. We're still continuing to have efficiency gains in almost everything we do, from the manufacturing sector to all the service sectors. You know, it's a great way for us to think about continuing to add to the earnings potential of these companies without having very strong demand growth. Imagine when the country has great confidence that it's going to have a job, that it can spend, that it can reinvest, that it can buy a house, that it can start to make investments for the future, that it can buy a car that it instead of the one that they've had for 14 years.